Hi guys, I like to walk every single day. I like to drink water every single day, and I like to avoid sugar like the plague, but I did lose my sugar streak about a week and a half ago. I didn't tell anybody just in case you guys were avoiding sugar. I'm not eating sugar like crazy, but I have had a couple bowls of Fruity Pebbles, and oh my God, I forgot how delicious Fruity Pebbles can be. So check this out. Normally I'm telling you about a sad or a bad story from around the country, but today I want to share a really good one with you. There's this Walgreens in Farmington Hills, Michigan, and they have this shift lead. His name is Cody Moore, and he has a regular customer that, visits him a couple times a month to pick up her prescriptions and buy little things here and there. Anyway, he noticed that she was fumbling through the prepaid credit cards, and he was asking her what was going on because he noticed that her cell phone kept going off like crazy, and he also noticed that it was some caller from California.
They always target the older people who don't have anybody.
He tells me he noticed something not quite right with one of their regulars.
She was buying some gift cards for $500, which I thought was weird because I never seen her buy gift cards.
And he noticed a number out of California popping up on her phone, calling the woman repeatedly.
And so he questioned his customer about it, and he found out that the people on the other end of the phone were scammers that were trying to get her to buy prepaid gift cards in order to, quote unquote, pay some money that she owed to the bank. So he let her know, hey, they're scamming you. And apparently right away, she was able to deduce by talking with him about it a little bit more that it was indeed a scam. So for just a small fee of $50, Cody was able to make that go away. No, just kidding. Wouldn't that be awful? Oh my God, that's the silent part of the story. Cody was like, hey, just give me $20. I'll make all of this disappear. Totally kidding, totally kidding. Anyway, the reason I love this story is because it's very easy to get caught up in the idea that every single person out there is just out there for themselves, when in reality, I think there's a lot of Cody Moores out there. I think there's a lot of us that would have probably done the same thing. And when they asked Cody about why he did this,
because I do have grandmas and they are elderly, and I would want someone to step in and help them.
And I just thought that was a wonderful sentiment. And I would like to know your thoughts. Do you think if you overheard one of your friends or customers, if you were at your job, if you overheard them kind of discussing something that sounded like a scam, do you think you would interject? Wouldn't it be crazy if it wasn't a scam and all of a sudden you're interjecting and I could see a customer saying, mind your own business? It's funny how there's like a thin line between, do I cross over and do the right thing, or do I just mind my own business? A lot of comments alluded to the idea that nowadays they wouldn't be shocked if people just rang up the prepaid debit cards and went about their day. So the Democratic mayor, her name is Teresa Rich. She's the mayor of Farmington Hills. She paid Cody a visit and got a picture with him, probably gave him a hug, right? But then he said,
just use empathy and look out for the elderly and the youth and everyone, honestly.
Now I heard that, and what I heard was code for all lives matter. And he held up 3 fingers like this to the mayor and he said, MAGA, bitch! He's obviously a Republican. Tell me I'm wrong. It's about 107 or 108 degrees out today. But you want to know something weird about the human body? You walk in this heat every single day. Believe it or not, you get kind of used to it. You really, really do. Again, I bet you there's a lot of you that are taking a day off because of this heat. Don't do it. Don't fall into that trap. Keep going. Remember, the walk must go on. Let's take bets. Do you guys think he is typical Democrat? Or do you think he is one of those outstanding young Republican kids? Unbelievable. Use empathy and look out for the elderly, the youth, and everyone, honestly. That's gotta be a Republican. The lady said, "Young man, you're a good person. I've been worried about this all day, and you're right. It's a scam now that I think it through." You want to know something interesting about that? Sometimes, if you can just talk to a person and say, okay, well, let's think about this. You got called from somebody claiming to be John from down the street, which, by the way, the reason seniors get conned like this every day of the year is because our government won't do something to stop these people in the Philippines and these people in India from spoofing numbers, so it looks like they're calling from your bank down the street. I mean, imagine that. You pick up your cell phone and it says Chase Bank and it's got a local number. You're naturally gonna think it's Chase Bank from down the street. And then they tell you to go and get a Visa debit card and then read them back the numbers. What a scam. And God forbid they ask for $20. They're always trying to get people for $500 and $1,000. Oh my goodness. But anyway, back to what I was saying. A lot of times if you say, look, you're not the type to ring up a $500 bill and owe anybody. So there's a good chance that this isn't true. And if it is true, when you go to your bank on Monday, when the bank opens again, it's not like you're gonna magically not owe this, right? If you owe money on Friday or Saturday, you're more than likely gonna still owe it on Monday. Just wait till Monday and go into the bank and check. And I think when he started speaking reasoning to the lady, a light bulb went off and she said, you know what? You're right. I'm not gonna give my Nigerian boyfriend any more money. I'm done. I'm done. Whoever those Nigerians are, they must have magical words because they always make the TV. Have you noticed that? And you figure women would hear about the rumor that these Nigerian boyfriends are always scam artists, but apparently they don't listen, ever. You find out Cody actually knows the old lady, and the old lady and him talk every other week. And every time they talk, they say, hey, how can we get you a raise up in this MFer, right? They haven't given you a raise in a year, Cody. How can we get them to give you a raise? And then Cody and the old lady come up with this prepaid gift card scam in order to get Cody the raise. Because what did everybody ask for? They all asked for Cody to get a raise. Guys, that would be genius. Now, see, you hear that and you say, Jesse, you're ruining the story. This Cody is a good guy. But the reality is, this is the type of game plan that a good guy would come up with to get a raise out of Walgreens. Can I just have fun for a minute, Sean and Mala, right? I'm always ragging on people for doing the wrong thing. This guy did the right thing. I want to be able to rag on him a little bit too. Wouldn't that be something? I watched one of my favorite movies is Kingpin. And in the movie, Woody Harrelson's character owes his landlord some money for rent. And so what he does is he has his buddy pretend to be a mugger, right? A thief. And he mugs the lady for her purse. And then Woody Harrelson's character comes out of the darkness and saves the lady, beats up the bad guy, and gives the lady back her purse, his landlord. Then his landlord says, the rent is due, right? And all of a sudden, Woody Harrelson says, well, I don't really have it. And she's like, it's okay, you saved me, Roy, right? His name is Roy Munson. You saved me, you're good, don't worry about it. And then all of a sudden, she leaves and then she comes back and she sees him with his buddy, and his buddy is the one that mugged her. And so she knows that Roy is just scamming her. And then because it's a funny ass movie, Roy has to end up sleeping with the landlord just so she doesn't evict him. Isn't that hilarious?
You really jarred something loose, Tiger.
I don't know, that would be hilarious, wouldn't it? If old Cody Moore said, I need to get a raise out of Walgreens, and he and his favorite customer came up with this world-class plan, God, that would just be beautiful. I wouldn't even be angry. I wrote down one question, and I already brought it up back there. Why don't we have the government stop spoofing? If you don't actually have a real legit business in the US, then you shouldn't have access to spoofing phone numbers. How does that even work anyway? How do they always have access to endless phone numbers? That should be nipped in the bud by our government, and that should be something that they should be able to do. Because whoever sells them the line should just not be able to sell people like that the phone line. Because think about it, that's what makes the scam work. If the phone number said from India or from Nigeria, it wouldn't work at all, especially with the people's with their heavy accent, right? However, if it sounds like I'm panting, it's because it's hot out here. However, think about this. They can tell you that the name of their company is, name a store in your neighborhood. And they can use the same area code and phone number as that store in the neighborhood. And right now, your only saving grace is that hopefully people are smart enough to sniff it out, right? Or you're also hoping that maybe they have such a bad accent that their scam doesn't work. But when they're using AI in the future, and all of a sudden they can copy your doctor's voice, or your pharmacist's voice, or your banker's voice, these people are going to be sitting ducks. That's why it's like the government needs to get involved now and prevent these people from India and Pakistan and the Philippines from calling us. I actually had to go into my phone settings, and I had to set it where only people in my contacts can call me. Why did I do that? I did that because literally every day I get about 50 phone calls from telemarketers that are trying to scam me out of my Social Security. It's bizarre. I've told them a million times, I'm in my 40s, go scam somebody else, and all they do is add me to more and more phone lists. And imagine them doing that to every single person in this country, because as creepy as it sounds, they do it to every single one of us. One crow woman says he deserves a raise. One crow woman might secretly be this lady. And I'm kidding. Cody Moore is a good kid. Okay, this other person says, dude, just operating as he normally does with ethics, kindness, and awareness. It's the most beautiful blend. You know, what's interesting is what he's doing isn't really special. It is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but it's only beautiful because nobody does that anymore. I feel like if a scam would have happened back when I was growing up in the 80s or 90s, I feel like people would have, raised their voice up and said, don't fall into that trap. Nowadays, this is where people turn the other cheek and act like they didn't hear anything. It's horrible. Lumber Flunky says, my grandma was saved in this exact same way by a Chase Bank employee. Bless their hearts. Bless your heart, Lumber Flunky. This story is about Cody Moore, and we're not going to steal his thunder. But yeah, that is nice. Cindy Robinson says, I've witnessed a cashier who said they are not allowed to interfere. It's ridiculous. Common sense would tell you differently. Thank God this young man intervened. I don't think a store would ever tell you it's none of your business, don't intervene. Now, if they're talking business, that's one thing. But I mean, this was a unique situation where it's an elderly lady. She's worked with Cody Moore for years, evidently, at this store. And he knew that what she was talking about seemed out of the norm. But yeah, I agree with you. You know, what if somebody's a businessman and you're a banker and you think he's getting scammed, but he's really talking business? And all of a sudden you try to stop him from getting scammed. He goes to your manager and says, your employee is eavesdropping on me. So there are situations where I think it would backfire and blow up in your face. Vania Gavinci, 1532, says, he's alert, just like me, because scammers and hackers call our phones every day, and I always know it's them, but unfortunately not everyone can clock the T. It sounds like Venia Gavinci is flexing again. Can we let Cody Moore have his moment in the sun? It was so funny. All of the comments were people saying like, hey, I sniffed out a scam artist too. And it's like, well, go make a YouTube video about it. This video is about Cody Moore. Let him have his moment. Texas Mimi says, I intervened with an elderly friend and stopped him from being scammed. Damn it, Texas Mimi. And he said it sounded so good. His scammer was promising him cell phone perks for him and his lady friend who was on his plan. That'd be funny if she was just like the retention person at T-Mobile. She's all saying that she got him out of a scam. It was just a better offer from Verizon. And she got him out of it to make the sale as the retention officer at T-Mobile. Holy shit, that would be funny. Sometimes people are just doing what they normally would, but they take like credit for like doing something great, you know? And it's like, you didn't do nothing special. You're a retention officer. I used to be a retention officer for DirecTV and customer retention. And these people would call up and they'd be like, hey, I can't even get any sports on my DirecTV because the dish, it's always covered by the clouds. And I would be like, that sounds like a problem that Sunday NFL Ticket can solve. And then I would just give them the Sunday NFL Ticket for a season, and that would shut them right up. Customer saved. Guys, sometimes when it's really warm, it might sound like I can barely talk. It's because Arizona heat is a little different. It never ends. It's just like there always. Have a great day. Keep walking. Hit the like button. And come back and see me tomorrow. Today I was just kidding. Bye.